It's hot outside and we need to protect our insulin from getting too hot. So let me show you how I keep my liquid gold from getting too hot. I'm Christelle from Diabetes Strong, and I've been living with type 1 diabetes since 1997, and luckily, insulin cooling technology has come a long way since my diagnosis. I remember backpacking through India with 4 very large thermos at the back of my backpack. That was not a very convenient solution. I now have more convenient solutions for when I'm out and about or for shorter day trips, and more high-tech solution if I don't have access to a fridge. And lastly, a solution for when I have to travel with large quantities of insulin. But let me show you, and you can of course find links to all of these coolers down in the video description. This small cooler is from Full Old Family and it's called Rambler, and it's probably the cooler that I use the most frequently. As you might know, insulin that's in use can generally just be stored at room temperature for up to 28 days. It doesn't have to be kept in the refrigerator. However, if you're in a place where it's over 86 degrees Fahrenheit, that's 30 degrees Celsius, or the insulin is in direct prolonged sunlight, you might get in trouble as your insulin can go bad. But if I go to the beach or the pool or anywhere where I'm concerned that my insulin might get too hot, I bring an insulin cooler. As mentioned, this is the cooler I use the most often. It's lightweight and it's guaranteed to keep my insulin at the right temperature for 12 to 16 hours, depending on how hot it is outside. It has a cooling element, and this cooling element has biogel in it. Let's take it out. It's not water. The thing is, insulin can also get too cold, and you shouldn't put ice directly on your insulin. This biogel freezes at a different temperature than water, so it won't harm your insulin. You take the biogel out of the freezer and leave it out for 10 minutes or hold it under warm water for 30 to 60 seconds and it's ready to use. The user guide says that this little cooler fits 1 pen, but I can fit a pen as well as a cartridge in mine. I like this cooler because I know my insulin will be at the right temperature, and it's so lightweight. That's often the cooler that I bring with me when I travel. And it's also TSA approved for air travel. This system also gives peace of mind. Remember how I said I used to travel with 4 large thermos? Well, because insulin is not supposed to be stored right next to ice, I would just put my insulin in the thermos, close them up, and hope for the best. And unfortunately, that meant that my insulin went bad, which is obviously not ideal when you're far from home. That was a bit of a nightmare. But let's move on to my other options for shorter trips or days in the sun. And that's these cooling pouches from Full Old Family and from Frio. The Frio pouch is pretty. It's a little bit more fun. It's also a little bit more expensive. It'll cost you $53.95, whereas this, it's called the Chiller from Full Old Family, is $32. $32.99. You can get other Frio pouches without the designs, and then the price comes down to about the same level as the Full Old Family pouch. So it comes down to preference. The cool thing about these is that you don't need access to a fridge, you don't need access to electricity. All you need access to for these to work is water. Here's how it works. You take out this inner pouch and you want to submerge that in water. You want to leave it there for 20 to 30 minutes, and the little crystals inside the pouch will swell. And later, as water evaporates, your insulin is kept at that 64.4 to 79 Fahrenheit, which is 18 to 26 degrees Celsius. Don't leave the pouch in the water for too long. It will swell up too much and you won't be able to fit your insulin in it until some of the water has evaporated. After drying off this inner pouch, you want to leave it out for 5 minutes, then fill it with your insulin. See, I can actually easily fill 4 insulin pens in this pouch. And then you want to put it in the outer pouch. There's a Velcro there. There you go. Then you close it. Are you ready to go in the sun? It should keep cold for up to 45 hours. However, I've found that it usually keeps cold for much longer. It usually lasts me at least a week. And once it's not cooling anymore, so when the crystals are no longer puffed up, you just resubmerge that inner pouch in water and it'll be cooling again. One thing to be mindful of though, is that since this technology works through water evaporation, you should not put either of these in an airtight container. Not a Ziploc, not a waterproof bag. If you do, it won't work. Those were 3 cooler options for shorter trips or if you just want to hang out in the sun. My next option is if you need a fridge, but you don't have access to one where you're at. It's a portable mini fridge from Full Old Family, and this one is called the Voyager. All it requires is an outlet and it will keep your insulin at fridge temperatures until you unplug it. It can hold up to 7 standard insulin pens, but as you can see, how much it holds really depends on what you use. I've used a mini fridge when I've been staying at hotels because I just don't trust hotel fridges. The thermostat seems to be set to fluctuate at random. Since a portable mini fridge isn't really something you see every day and it's not exactly free, I want to do a bit of a deep dive and show you exactly how it works. So this is the box that it comes in. So let's just have a look. Let's unpack it. First, you see these are all the items that are in there. It's a biogel. It's the actual cooling case. This is what turns it into a mobile fridge. There's a container, the lid, the carrying case. Let's have a look. So we're gonna open it up. Okay, here's all the stuff. So that was the carrying case for the cooler, little pouch for electronics. See that here. This is, you plug that into the lid. That's what it, you plug that into an outlet. But yeah, this part is what really makes this exciting because this is what turns it into a mini fridge. So you just pop in your insulin in here, pop it into the container, and then plug that into the outlet, and then it's up and running. Let's see it in action. I have the cooler. See here, listen. You can hear it. There's a little motor going. But again, it's plugged into the outlet. And you can see the temperature here. It's 39. And there's temperature control. It's going to keep it between 36 to 46 Fahrenheit. So that's 2 to 8 degrees Celsius. And basically, I have my insulin in here. I'll show you in a second. It's a portable fridge. That's what it is. Brilliant. Okay, see, I just took it apart. So you can see, this is the cooling part. So I have all the insulin in here. I simply just, I only have one hand free, but let's do it like this instead. On, screw it on. There we go. And just be careful if you have vials so that they don't break. Just screw it on, again. Plug it in. Mobile fridge. You don't have to be in a hotel or even inside to use this. A solar panel can also power this cooler. Or, for example, an outlet in a car. You can plug it in and you'll have a mini fridge on the go. It will keep your insulin at fridge temperatures 24/7, but it's also worth noting that it's a bit of a heavy cooler. It's not completely silenced and it will set you back around $200. But for me, that's still worth it. Before we move on to my last cooler, I want to show you my membership options. See this as a 20-second ad break. It's a little bit like a tip jar, and it's a way for you to support my channel. I've set it at $2.99 a month, and you can of course cancel it anytime. With a membership, aside from supporting me, you get early access to my videos, priority replies to comments, and a loyalty badge. You can find the membership button here on my YouTube page, and if you have any ideas on what else I could include for members, please let me know down in the comments. Anyway, I appreciate you, and let's move on. And finally, my insulin cooler option for when I need to travel with really large quantities of insulin is this insulated travel case from Sugar Medical. And this one holds a lot. It easily holds 4 months of insulin. That's what I packed in it last time. So that's 4 months of long-acting insulin pens, my cartridges, and Afrezza, my inhaled insulin. The inside of the carrier, let me show you, is lined for insulation, but the carrier in itself does not come with any cooling elements. I use this little cooling element that I bought years ago for something else. Most importantly is that you want to choose a cooling element that's TSA approved if you're going to fly, and that you don't place it directly on your insulin. Again, insulin can also get too cold. So when I use this, let me show you. I have my insulin in here in the big room. Lock that in, and then I put the cooler here on the other side. Then you close the case. And that seems to work for me. The back here is about $60, and I only use it for trips where I've gone for a month or longer. But you could also use it for shorter trips and just have all of your diabetes supplies in here and use it as your medical bag. So if you're flying, most airlines will allow you a medical bag for free in addition to all your allowed luggage. You'll of course have to reach out to the airline that you prefer and ask about their rules. So to summarize, I use the small foil family cooler or the cooling pouches for short trips or just hanging out in the sun. And I use the mini fridge when I actually need a reliable fridge. And then finally, the Sugar Medical insulated travel bag for when I need to travel with large amounts of insulin. I do all of this because insulin that's not stored at the right temperature can go bad. And it's really hard to know if or when your insulin goes bad. You'll only know once your insulin is not lowering your blood sugars as expected. If you're interested in seeing more diabetes product reviews from me, check out this video where I go over different medical ID options, or this video where I try out a lot of different sugar-free snacks and of course give you the download on which ones works and which one did not work for my blood sugars. And while you do that, why not subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications? That way you'll never miss a thing. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.